Hello, this is John D. Callahan. What is the nature of money and how does one obtain financial independence? First of all, let's imagine there is no money. Now, we live in a civilization, obviously, which produces many things, and that's necessary. You have to grow food, transport it, build homes, and we can do a lot of that so efficiently that we have time for arts and sciences, etc. Now, if there was no money, we'd have to barter. We'd have to say something like, "Well, I'll give you my van for your house, or I'll give you 5 vans for my house, and I'll work a year for you, and you'll give me a motorcycle, etc. Or I'll work 6 months and you'll give me so much food," and on and on. One would have to barter. Our civilization would have to barter if there was no money. Now, obviously, that is impossible, extremely impractical, and not possible. So, what do? We create money, and money is a go-between between items. So, one assigns a value. Say the house is worth 100,000 and the van is worth 30,000. I'll give you 2 vans for the house, etc. But again, you use money instead of bartering. You assign a value, but the money itself is worthless in the sense that these are just little pieces of paper that have no value in and of themselves. It's only that we assign a value to them because we cannot barter. We have to use money to exchange goods and services within our civilization. Now, what is the big temptation? Well, the big temptation is, the house only costs 100,000. I'll just make some more money. And there's a very big temptation to do that. And that's what happens, largely through government, and then illegally through counterfeiters. You print more money, and then you can buy more stuff. And that goes on. There's kind of an irresistible force called inflation. And that goes up, particularly as the government becomes involved. And so things become more expensive in the sense of how much money you have to pay to, say, buy a house. But the relative value is approximately the same or changes much slowly. So then, knowing that, how do we obtain financial independence? Absolutely essential. Buy your own home. Buy your own home. Absolutely essential to obtain financial independence. That should be your number one goal. Save money and buy a house. And why is that? Well, you're buying a house at the current value of the money. But it's going to be necessary to have more and more money in order to buy the house, even though the relative value between the van and the house is about the same. So you buy a house, you're locked in at that money value. And you typically will have a mortgage. So say 10 or 20 years after you buy the house, your mortgage is still fixed. It's fixed at that lower level. So say your mortgage was originally $1,000. Now and it stays that way for 30 years, typically. Now, you're working at, say, making 10 grand a year when you bought the house. But 20 years later, you're making 20 grand because of inflation. But you only have to pay 1,000 still for the mortgage. And eventually you'll pay it off. So you have this thing that is extremely valuable because you can just pay it off at money that increases the amount of money you get for work, but you only have to pay a small amount for the house relative to what you're earning, because they're paying you more for your work as time goes on, but you've locked in the house at what you had originally bought. So number one, you buy your house. Now, obviously, you need to have money to live, to buy food. And therefore, food and clothes and so forth. Therefore, you need a job. So get a job, get the best job you can, job you enjoy, and keep working at it while you're investing. Invest all the money you make and invest as much as you can. Save as much as you can by pinching pennies. Pinch pennies. Now, that's somewhat unpopular, but it's very fun, and you typically can get things just as good or better than if you spent more. And I have a number of videos on how to do that. I'll just give you one example because I'm looking right at it. My hair, I dye my own hair. It cost me $4 or $5. I cut and dye my own hair. It costs $4 or $5. You know what it would cost if I had to have it done professionally? I have many examples like that. And I have several videos on the topic. So, save money. I know it's not popular, but it's fun and you do just as well or better. Then buy another example. I don't want to get going, but another example is clothes. Go to thrift stores. Often you can buy something brand new that will fit better and looks better than spending 10 times more at a department store, or 5 or 10 times more at a department store. Okay, now, you got to buy your house. What else do you invest in? You can invest in gold. Gold's going to keep going up. It's a hard asset in the same way as the home. But probably the best thing at all, one of the best things, is the SPY. Well, what's the SPY? It's a stock you can buy, and it's a combination of 500 of the top companies in the country. And those change. They'll adjust those periodically. So there'll always be a good representation of 500 companies. Now, a lot of companies, one may go bad or even bankrupt, but again, it's being monitored and adjusted. So overall, it won't. So, and it will appreciate in the same way that your house appreciates. It's property, it's intellectual property, and it's people's labor, and you're investing in that. So buy the SPY. Investing is very simple. It rhymes. Keep that in mind. Buy the SPY. It's that simple. Now try to buy it low, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to catch the exact bottom. Same with housing. Try to get a good deal on a house. Move to a different part of the country. Do a little research. But with little effort, you can get a good deal on a house. Buy the SPY when it's low, but don't worry about it too much. It's going to keep going up. Now, another good point is if you work on your home, you're putting money into it at the current cost of labor, which is going to go up. And one reason that's the same with the SPY. People are working and they're improving the company at the current price of the company, at current price of money, but money's going to keep going up. So it'll appreciate in the same way that the house does, and your initial investment will continue to go up because of inflation. So that's how you obtain financial independence. Happens much faster than you would ever dream. Often you start in your 20s, you can be done 10, 20, 30 years. You can be done with any kind of luck, or if you're pretty good at buying homes or investing in the SPY. Can also obviously branch out and your skill can increase. You can maybe buy more than your residence. You can have some rental properties. You can buy other stocks. But the simplest thing, own your own home, buy the SPY, and pinch pennies. And that's the nature of money and how to obtain financial independence.